words have never seemed so inadequate to me until now. And I ask that, as I read, please remember Dwayne for who he was and what he meant to you. Please rely on your own memories. And if you've ever wondered what a true friend looks like, then please listen closely. Dwayne was a true friend to so many. True friends you can trust. You can trust them to stand with you no matter what you're going through. And Dwayne personally stood with me a few years ago through one of the toughest times in my life, up until now. And I always felt that if Dwayne was with me, nobody could touch me. I felt like he was my own personal bodyguard. And he told me so many times, I got your back, buddy. And when I had to make some tough decisions, sure enough, there he was standing with me every time, holding up my arms when I was weak and when I was scared. And true friends, they'll hug you and they'll not want to let you go. And Dwayne's hugs, they always hurt me. And they always guaranteed me that my feet would be leaving the ground. But I felt like I was really somebody when we did this. I really did. And true friends will say, if there's anything you ever need, you call me. And when you do, they're there before you hang up the phone. Dwayne never said no. Ever. If he did, it was to spend time with his family, his children, his parents. They were first, we know. He loved to help others, from babysitting to lying under a truck in the freezing cold so a friend could plow snow. The highlight of my journey with Dwayne was when I asked him to become a youth leader, to work by my side as I fulfill God's call in my own life. And so many times I wanted to just give up pastoring. When times get tough, and it was at these times that Dwayne always amazed me with his words of wisdom and encouragement. And I would often wonder, where did that come from? Dwayne never doubted me, not once. And when I decided to take over the Trenton Youth Center, what began as support with Dwayne became his passion at the time. That big gruff guy with the broad shoulders, he soon became part of the foundation that we built on. And I wondered how he would even fit in down there, how he would be received by a bunch of wild teenagers that didn't even know him. Because Dwayne scared me at times. He was never afraid to set me straight, or anybody else for that matter. And I did. I thought he might scare them all the way on us. I could not have been more wrong. Dwayne developed relationships with those teenagers you simply have to see to believe. And a few years ago, Dwayne wanted a motorcycle. He had $500 measly in his pocket. And we went on a mission to find the best 500 motorcycle we could buy. And I remember the disappointment in his eyes after every bike we looked at that evening was junk. And I was thinking to myself, I would let him know this, every bike you look at for $500 is going to be junk. But not Dwayne. He was so sure we were coming home that night with a bike. So I said, check Kijiji one more time before we head back. And so we drove around Truro until we picked up somebody's wireless internet. And we checked Kijiji one more time. And sure enough, there it was, just posted, a 1982 CB750 Honda, $500. It was a long shot, so we raced against the darkness, we raced against the rain to get to Brule. And a long story short, Dwayne was now the proud new owner of that bike. And I do mean proud. And shortly after that, the engine went. And he was heartbroken. And he looked at me and he said, "Do you think we can fix it?" And I said, "Sure." As a mechanic guy, I was supposed to be the one who believes we could fix it. And as we get into tearing it apart, I remember thinking, I've never seen so many parts on the floor in my life. What am I going to do? I remember thinking this bike will never run again. But once again, not Dwayne. He kept saying, "We can do it, we can do it." And then he would laugh, like only he could. And I actually started believing it, right up until we finished, and we had a handful of parts left over. I didn't let him know, but I was sweating. There was a lot at stake here. Well, after many hours of me doing most of the work, because he was texting the whole time, I was getting into it. The bike fired up. And Dwayne went on to drive 10,000 kilometers that summer. This became his next passion. Dwayne was now officially a biker. He played the part well, didn't he? He lived it well. I was very fortunate to have spent 2 hours with Dwayne the night before he passed. All he talked about was getting to Truro on Saturday so he could be a part of the biker blessing. And then we're talking about animal, whoever animal is. Some of you would know. When he got there, he would be a part of CMA praying for safety and blessing over the bikers, not the bikes, over them. And he would hand out little blessing stickers and salvation tracts. This next reflection is from one of Dwayne's closest friends, Melvin Frost, who so beautifully put into words what I struggled in my brokenness to write. Thank you, Melvin. These are his words. One thing I always loved about Dwayne, he said, that he always seemed to have a smile on his face when others around him were worried or stressed. He always remained so laid back. He just enjoyed the moment and enjoyed his life. This made Dwayne a great person to be around. So I will miss his presence in my life. Dwayne's two favorite possessions were his motorcycle and his cell phone. Obviously, we're talking material possessions. He put a heck of a lot of miles on each one of them. One time when we drove our bikes around the Cabot Trail, Dwayne was out of cell phone coverage for a few hours. He didn't know what to do with himself. I can testify to that. I was there. I always wondered what cell phone withdrawal looked like. When we stopped for the night in a place with cell reception, he borrowed a second cell phone. And I have a picture of him sitting on a couch with a cell phone in each hand, texting simultaneously, with a relieved grin spread from ear to ear. Dwayne was always the most willing person I've ever met to lend a hand to his friends. When you needed help moving, piling wood, barbecuing hot dogs for your child's birthday, Dwayne would always be there for you. He would not just say he would be there, he would show up and help you as long as you needed him. Friends like that are few and far between. He was a great man to work with, walk with, and talk to. He always listened to what was going on in your life and gave you the encouragement to get through it. One thing I admired about Dwayne was how much he loved his family. I noticed that there was something special about the way he said Mom and the way he said Dad. I could always sense the fondness and warmth in his voice of that single syllable whenever he spoke of his mom and when he spoke of his dad. It was easy to perceive how much he loved them and how much they loved him. I never talked to Dwayne that he did not mention his daughters, Erica and Cynthia. They never left his thoughts for a minute. They were him as much as his own flesh, and he loved them with all that he was. I had admiration for Dwayne and that he was a true husband. He always spoke well when he spoke of his wife, Kim. You get used to hearing people complain about their spouses, but not Dwayne. I know how much he loved her. I loved them being together. It was easy to see they were meant for each other. They reached strong when the other was weak, and I saw them hold hands and keep moving forward together when times get tough. I'm so happy that they both got to experience true love like that. Most of all, I admired Dwayne because he was a man of God. Just like all of us, he was not perfect, but he gave all that he had to his God. He loved the Lord, and he liked to be in God's house with his people. Dwayne had the heart of God. He cared so much for the youth of Pictou County. He dedicated a large part of his life to them. They could talk to him because he was open and honest and real. The big body with the bald head, goatee, tattoos. Could not hide the gentle, loving spirit that was Dwayne. What a guy. When I look back through photos I've taken over my life, Dwayne was in so many of them. He was a big part of my life. We did crazy teenage things together. We rode motorcycles together. He always came to my house to help me burn brush so the fire department would eventually show up with the police. He kept me out of trouble too much. We made fun of each other. We laughed together, we celebrated together, and we were sad together. We held each other's babies. He was my friend. I loved him and I will always miss him. Thank you, Mel. I believe that one of the things every person loved who knew Dwayne was that what you seen was what you got. He was real. He was proud of who he was. And he was extremely comfortable in bare feet, as is Kim. No sleeves, shorts, and a shaved head. And Dwayne proved that bald is beautiful. And he used that beauty to witness to everyone around him of his love for Jesus. The tattoo on the back of his head of Jesus Christian. Dwayne will be remembered as friend, Dewey, Uncle Dwayne, my prince, brother, dad, babe, and son. Thank you, Eric, Verna, Cynthia, Erica, and Kim. Thank you for sharing Dwayne so many times when you needed him just as much as we did. Dwayne, we will remember you well. We'll miss you for just a little while, and then we'll soon be together again. I just want to share a verse with you. John 14:6. In that Jesus answered, I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. And we are so glad that Dwayne knew Jesus. He lived for Jesus. And he found a way into his heavenly Father's arms through Jesus. Bless you.